I feel like I'm a survivor, especially in the music industry, because I've never quit. Some people don't know it, but I've never stopped making records. I've never stopped doing what I do, and I won't ever stop doing that. And if my experience of what I've gone through can create hope and show that other people can do it, then yeah, let's tell this story. I got a second chance. I don't want to go back the other way. I just want to create. I want to share with other people. I want to show them that they can too. I want to show the next generation. Once I came back, word got out that where I had been, but for most of that time period, a lot of people didn't know what had happened to me. I just disappeared. That's why I call that time period the lost years, but it's sometime between like truly 2002 to 2004, like where like totally lost. I was totally lost. My spirit was lost. My soul was lost. I wasn't connecting to anything. I had this false sense of importance that cocaine will give you. I love when like legendary artists talk about it's the job of the musician or artist, like Nina Simone said it a lot about. It's their duty to reflect the times and talk about it. But that was a very my time at that time period coming out of getting locked up and being a state inmate, and there was my moment in time, I shut myself off from the rest of the world, so I was reflecting me and trying to figure out who the hell I was. You know, part of like, I think creating and releasing is letting it be what it is, you know, like don't continue to like screw with it. It's raw in that moment in time because that's what we had. That's what we could do. When you're cutting a record on weekend leaves as a state inmate in a men's home rehab facility, you don't got time to overthink it or screw around with it, overanalyze it. It's just capturing a moment in time that most people have still never heard.
Turn back the page.
And I was pulled over somewhere on this stretch of road because I didn't have a home at the time. I mean, everything was in my car. Slept at night at like a rest stop. Woke up the next morning and started driving and smoked a joint and had been doing cocaine, and they got pulled over like right as I entered Etowah County. The deputy sheriff just, I mean, I was buckled in like this and cruise control set and like out of, like he's parked in the thing. I think someone must have like seen me smoking a joint, or, you know, I don't know, called it in, because he came right at me. Because in Alabama, you can have rolling papers, and if they're sitting out, that's probable cause for them to search your car. Even though you could have done nothing and literally just been smoking cigarettes, but they're going to still search your car, especially outside of a metropolitan area. I let him search the car, and he found an empty baggie of cocaine and called the narcotics division of the Etowah County. Like, I mean, I was begging him. I was like, dude, like, I don't sell the shit. I don't have weight. I don't have anything. Like, they tried to get me to tell them where it came from. They were trying to get me to go do meth buys in Etowah County. I've never done meth in my life. I'm not from the area. It's like, I mean, I could have gotten killed, you know, like doing that shit. So I just told them no. I was like, man, I'm an adult. Like, you can just take me to jail. So they did. How can you just make someone a prisoner for a first-time drug offense? Because then you become like part of that system, and I mean, you have to do things in whether it's an Etowah County Detention Center or a state penitentiary, you have to do things to survive. That then you end up with more charges and a more fucked up life, and you've got these convictions on your thing. You can't get, makes it harder to get IDs, it makes it harder to get jobs. And it took months and months to where I had a court date that it would cost me $10,000 and my case was going to go away. You know, charges would be dropped, no big deal. But I didn't have 10 grand, so I had to make payments every month. So you're trying to make those payments. You're trying to do your child support. You're trying to pay for your kids' health insurance. You're trying to still eat and live, and it just all spiraled and got worse and worse. And then I started really doing more drugs because I couldn't cope with anything. And I wasn't getting, even being through the drug court, I wasn't getting the help to figure out any of it. You know, there wasn't any guidance. It was just like, oh, we're here to help you. And I believe on some level they think they were. But the way it's set up is almost like a modern day debtor's prison. It's just, it created more problems to where eventually I missed payments. They kicked me out of drug court. They put a warrant out for my arrest. And I hid for like a year almost. I mean, I knew there was, if I had gotten pulled over doing anything, that was it. And I was still trying to record, living in the basement of a recording studio, having to move back in with my mother, increasing my, like, really becoming, like, to where I was doing a lot of cocaine. To where eventually it just, I got so tired and so exhausted from all of it, I finally wanted to just go turn myself in and face it and figure it the fuck out. fact that I've even gotten to do any of it that would wound up where I was making dumb decisions to get arrested, like from being 18 and hell, even going back to like 15 and being a punk rock promoter in one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in Birmingham, booking bands like Neurosis and Christ on a Crutch and mixing shows to write my first songs and starting a band at 18. To come from building up and being part of a group like Verbena was and doing what all we got to do, to losing everything from my choices and the freaking stupid drug war. And look, sometimes people need to get locked up to wake up, but you can't just make them a prisoner because they freaking have emotional trauma, addiction issues. Like, that doesn't make it right. But there was such a rawness to my life, going from like being on top of all this shit, making these records that no one's ever heard, losing band members, friends, people not, like, it was just in a raw place. So the music should reflect that.
And some of the stories, some people are like, oh, cliche, like musician, does some drugs, finds God, does this. But it was more than that. It was different than that for me. It wasn't a cliche anything. It was my life. It was what I had fought to get back to. It's what I had fought to change. It's what I had, fought to be a better man, a better human, a better father, a better friend. Because I had ruined all that.
This out here, like this air, the trees, like there's nothing worth losing access to this.
Like, there's something good about like coming back, looking at it, facing it, talking about it. Helps you move forward. Lost my love in a cold stone cell. I made my bed and I made my hell. In a book I found my destiny. Oh, baby, baby, to set you free. So don't go back to Etowah. Too many bricks on too many walls. So don't go back to Etowah. Too many bricks on too many walls. When we were first pulling up, I really was like nervous about coming back because of my experience here was all about being locked up and being a prisoner and like my life almost ending as we knew it.
But so mine was on the backside, so all I could make out was barely like this used car lot. And then when Morgan, the first time she came to see me, I was like way on the backside, so she was down here in like a video chat room, and that's how you got visitations, was through like video chat. And it was, yeah, strange, man. And this is a money-making system. Like, we don't have to put that shit in there, but I'm just telling you, this fucking jail makes money, you know? Like, I remember someone one time wrote me like, yeah, things are great, we've expanded, I got like a whole new area. I'm like, the goal of the criminal justice system should be to shrink, not expand. Like, that's not a sign you're doing well. But yeah, that's where I wrote the first song for Etowah. I wrote it in a cell in there. It's fucking wild, man. Well, I mean, the good stuff is that I got to still make records. The good stuff is that there were people that still saw some humanity in me, and it wasn't just like, oh, you were doing drugs and got caught, so you need to be a prisoner. Like, really? A freaking, like, that's the thing that goes on in this world. Like, so the good is that I got to keep making records that had people that believed in me. If I had not made Etowah, I wouldn't have made the next 4-track records. I wouldn't have made the Rabbit Runs the Destiny record, and I wouldn't, you know, there's good that comes out of like dark periods if you choose to find that. And I absolutely didn't want to live in like a dark spirit. Like me getting to go through what I did and getting the chance to write a record like that, like what can I do now? How can I help? How can I share positive? How can I share love? And then each record is like, that progresses from that. It progresses from Etowah to like sitting in my basement with a microphone and a 4-track. It all leads to the next thing. And I think the is if you can make it about the journey, then you don't dwell too much in the past and you're not worried about the fucking future. And it's real easy to worry about the future, but like just be on the damn journey. Like being on the journey is the coolest part. To my children, watch your brothers and your sisters through the day, for the devil, he comes in darkness, but he holds not death and the grave.
I just got done with my morning routine.
What was your morning routine?
Playing games when I wake up.
Wait, 1, 2.
Alright, pop it, lock it. Pop it.
You turned the opposite way.
Oh, pop it.
Boom.
Oh,
Pop it, lock it.
rock it. when did you think like your future dream was being a record like player?
To be a songwriter and musician.
Yes.
When I was 3 years old. I had like a tiny little guitar and I would perform, like pretend to perform and all this stuff. And then I had an uncle. There's a song on the new album called Motorcycles that's all about my uncle. And he was a music fanatic. And he told my mom that I would be a musician. He was in a coma for 6 months after a motorcycle wreck. And in his coma, he had a vision of me like being a musician and a songwriter. And it ended up happening. And so my whole life, all I wanted to do was write songs. I started writing the Social Animals after he was born, a couple of songs while Morgan was pregnant. And then, we didn't know what we were going to do really, but we knew we had always wanted to do a shop, a place where people could gather and have community, and it could be a creative outlet for us. Like
I lost.
Was your first tooth at one of our parties?
Yeah, so at one of our parties, we were like, we will throw parties there
For
at
the whole
shop.
community,
yeah. And the neighborhood, and people would come over. We had beer and drinks and stuff, and then we play music. And when I was little, I played up there.
You did. You had an art show at the shop.
Yeah.
And you played. The whole time that Morgan was really sick after having Tennessee, and he would be like asleep next to me on the sofa or in the bed, and I would just write songs constantly. I think I wrote like 100 rough ideas for the new album, and started narrowing them down and thinking like these songs sort of fit together. And I'd go demo and I'd send it to John and Yellow and go in and do another demo, and it just all sort of happened, you know what I mean? Like everything was flowing into the next thing. And the shop became an extension of all that. Like, there's a lot of stuff has not been super planned out. It's just been tapping into like what I'm supposed to be doing. How creative can I live? How can I live like super creative and pay my bills and support my family? And how can we build a community based around that, and like, share with other artists and musicians and turn people onto them. But anyways, yeah, the Social Animals came out of all of that. Like, and the meanings have changed and evolved even since the songs were written, because society's changed and evolved for better or worse. Do you like Daddy's new songs?
My favorite one was holding on firm one more year on. So I started closing eyes and seeing sun.
We were younger, you were right. I could turn this town in a fight. Oh my baby, where was I when you were free? We were waiting on a night, too blind to walk out of the fire. I was so wrong, but I finally found my freedom. My freedom.
This is one of his paintings. That's one of Tennessee's paintings.
The A&R person on the album, and we played him a bunch of songs from the record.
Baby, don't you worry, I'll take care. The times are moving swiftly, and there's danger in the air. You make it easy, me I love to scream. Take it from the heartache, would do for some relief. Tonight, 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 it'll be alright. Tonight, 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 it'll be alright. Baby, someone's moving, there's murder on the streets. The steps where you've been bleeding, it'll cause your heart to sink. Look up from the mountains, running through the fields. Come back here and save me. You can give it all you feel. Tonight, 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 it'll be alright. Tonight, 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 it'll be alright. Baby, someone's coming down the road line. The fathers, the sons, and the daughters, they need to get in time. You make it easy, me I make it hard. Don't you wrestle the favor, it'll come back from the start. Tonight, 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 it'll be alright. 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 Tonight, 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 it'll be alright.
But yeah, the music, it brought back my spirit. It restored my spirit. It restored my hope. You know what I mean? That's what music does, man. Music, like, that's the beauty of music. It absolutely, like, tears down walls and barriers and gives, like, even sad songs give people hope and feel like there's a reason the world needs music always. Like, why people don't need to stop, why you don't need to squash that in children, why you need to, like, push it and explore it. And whether it could be art, there's something about that, like, creativity. But even people that aren't musically inclined, like music speaks to their soul, you know? It's like it's a life force. It connects everything. It brings people to the same table.